In June 2025, the Wall Street Journal dropped an investigation so explosive that it sent shockwaves through a $70 billion industry. We're talking about an expose that revealed something absolutely insane. Brand new recreational vehicles, sitting on dealer lots with the price tags still attached, already leaking. We're talking water damage before the first mile is even driven. And here's the kicker. One manufacturer alone has racked up more safety recalls than any car company in the entire United States. Let that sink in for a second. More recalls than Ford, more than Toyota, more than General Motors. And chances are, you've never even heard about this. Today, I'm going to expose the engineering disasters that are absolutely destroying this industry. And more importantly, I'm going to show you the only 3 types of vehicles you should actually consider buying with your hard-earned money. Because what I'm about to reveal could save you from losing $80,000 or more. When you walk onto an RV dealership lot, you see what looks like a thriving marketplace full of competition. You've got Airstream, Jayco, Keystone, Tiffin, Winnebago. All these heritage American brands with their own logos, their own marketing, their own identity. And naturally you assume these are different companies, all competing against each other to build you the best possible product for your family. But that assumption is dead wrong. The reality is far more sinister. Just 2 massive corporations control 80% of the entire recreational vehicle market in America. Thor Industries and Forest River have spent the last 20 years systematically buying up every single independent competitor they could find. And they've replaced genuine craftsmanship with a ruthless business model that prioritizes one thing and one thing only: volume. When you buy a Keystone or a Heartland, you're not buying from a small team of dedicated craftsmen in Indiana who care about quality. You're buying from a subsidiary of Thor Industries, a publicly traded corporation that answers to Wall Street shareholders and quarterly earnings reports. And that changes everything. The nightmare begins on the factory floor with a compensation system that's almost designed to produce defects. It's called piece rate pay. In the automotive industry, workers get paid by the hour, which gives them every incentive to take their time, double-check their work, and make sure that bolt is tightened to the correct specification. But in the RV industry, workers don't get paid by the hour. They get paid based on how many units they can push out the door every single day. Think about what that does to the incentive structure. Speed becomes the only metric that matters to a worker's paycheck. If someone stops the production line to fix a crooked cabinet or secure a loose wire properly, they're literally taking money out of their own pocket and the pockets of every other worker on that line. The result is exactly what you'd expect. Mechanics see absolute horror shows rolling into their shops. We're talking screws driven straight through the backs of microwaves, furnace flues that don't even line up with the exhaust vents, electrical wires stapled directly through their centers because the installer didn't have time to route them properly around the frame. These aren't accidental mistakes or one-off oversights. These are the inevitable, predictable consequences of the payment structure that these massive conglomerates have deliberately implemented. And if you're getting value from this investigation, do me a quick favor, smash that like button and subscribe to the channel. We're a small operation working hard to expose the truth that big corporations don't want you to know, and your support genuinely helps us create more content like this that could save you thousands of dollars. Now, poor assembly is only half of the disaster. The materials themselves have been engineered to fail. The most catastrophic engineering flaw in the modern RFI industry is something called the laminated sandwich wall design. To cut weight and slash costs, manufacturers stopped building frames from solid aluminum and started gluing fiberglass skins to a substrate material. Ideally, that substrate would be a composite material that's completely impervious to water damage. But to save money, they almost always use the cheapest option available, a wood product called Luan plywood. Here's how they build your $80,000 wall. They glue fiberglass to the Luan, then they glue the Luan to a block of styrofoam insulation, and they call that a structural wall. And sure, it works perfectly fine until the exact moment water touches it. Because these units are vibrating down the interstate at 70 miles per hour, the seals on the roof inevitably crack and separate. It's not if water gets in, it's when. And when water finally penetrates that Lewin plywood, it completely dissolves the adhesive holding everything together. The wood starts rotting from the inside out, and you'll see bubbles forming on the exterior skin of your vehicle. This condition has a name in the industry. It's called delamination. And here's the truly devastating part. Once delamination begins, it is chemically impossible to repair. You cannot inject new glue into rotted, disintegrated wood. At that point, your $80,000 asset, your dream of exploring America with your family, becomes a worthless total loss that no dealership will accept as a trade-in. But surely the warranty will protect you from these manufacturing defects, right? Wrong. The warranty process is effectively a sophisticated scam designed to wear you down until you give up. When you bring your broken RV back to the dealership, you enter a bureaucratic nightmare where the dealer literally cannot fix anything without explicit approval from the manufacturer. They have to photograph every defect, submit detailed claims, and wait for a corporate representative to review and approve the labor hours. And here's where it gets really ugly. The manufacturer will often flat out deny the claim, or they'll approve it, but inform you that the specific part you need is on back order for months. It's standard industry practice for dealerships to keep your vehicle sitting in their lot for 3 to 6 months while they wait for corporate approval on a single replacement part. And during those entire 6 months, you're still making your monthly loan payments. You're still paying for insurance. You're still paying for storage, all for a vehicle that's just sitting in a parking lot, gathering dust and depreciating. In California alone, lemon law cases for RVs absolutely exploded to over 22,000 in 2024 because these units are sitting broken on dealer lots instead of at campsites where they belong. Even the legendary Airstream brand, once considered the absolute gold standard of American manufacturing quality, couldn't escape this fate. Thor Industries bought them out, and owners of newer Airstreams are now reporting quality control nightmares like popping rivets and leaking windows that would have been absolutely unthinkable 20 years ago when the company was still independent. This is the private equity playbook in action. Buy a brand with an incredible reputation, strip out all the quality to maximize profit margins, and ride that reputation into the ground until it's completely destroyed. So does this mean you should just give up on the dream of exploring this country? Absolutely not. It means you need to stop shopping like a naive consumer and start thinking like a forensic auditor. If you want to avoid financial catastrophe, you must stop drooling over shiny new models on the lot and start hunting for units that were built before the private equity takeovers. Look for pre-acquisition era vehicles. For example, search for Tiffin models manufactured before the family sold the company to Thor Industries in 2020. Bob Tiffin was legendary in the industry for personally answering his phone and authorizing repairs on the spot. That level of customer service evaporates the second a corporation takes control. A Tiffin Allegro bus from 2018 is almost certainly built better and will have fewer catastrophic issues than a brand new model rolling off the assembly line today. Or you can seek out the very few remaining factory direct brands like Lazy Days and Born Free. Lazy Days is a small company operating out of California that refuses to expand and absolutely refuses to sell through traditional dealerships. They paint their graphics directly onto the vehicle instead of using cheap vinyl stickers that peel off in the sun. They build their walls with aluminum skins that can actually be replaced if they get damaged, because they don't have to pay dealership markups and because they don't answer to Wall Street shareholders. They can put that money back into superior materials and actual craftsmanship. But there's a third option that's the best kept secret in the entire overland community. There's a legal loophole in United States import law called the 25-year rule. This obscure regulation allows any American to import any vehicle from Japan as long as it's at least 25 years old. And smart Americans are absolutely exploiting this loophole to import low-mileage Toyota campers that are built with commercial-grade reliability that puts American RVs to shame. In Japan, vehicles are subjected to an incredibly rigorous inspection program called Shaken, which becomes extremely expensive as vehicles age. This means Japanese owners routinely sell their camper vans with only 30 or 40,000 miles on the odometer, because it's actually cheaper than paying for the next inspection cycle. You can buy a Toyota Hiace or a Toyota Coaster with a 3-liter turbo diesel engine that's just barely broken in. These engines were designed for commercial delivery trucks and are legitimately capable of running for 500,000 miles without a major overhaul. The interior build quality on these Japanese units is often dramatically superior because they use real hardwood and high-quality composites instead of stapled particle board. You can import one of these units for $20,000 to $30,000, which is a fraction of the cost of a new domestic van. Here's the financial genius of this strategy. When you drive a 25-year-old Toyota Hiace, you're driving an asset that has already fully depreciated. If you buy a new American Class B van for $120,000, it'll be worth $80,000 the second you drive it off the lot. But if you buy an imported Toyota for $25,000, it'll likely still be worth that exact amount 5 years from now, possibly even more. The era of widespread quality in American RV manufacturing is over, and the big brands are banking on you not noticing. They're counting on you being distracted by the LED mood lighting and the flat-screen televisions so you don't notice the cheap Luan plywood rotting inside your walls. But if you know where to look, and if you're willing to step outside the traditional dealership system, you can still find machines that are genuinely built to last forever. Don't let Thor Industries and Forest River steal your retirement savings for a product that's literally designed to fail. Check the manufacturing dates. Research the ownership lineage, and never, ever underestimate the value of a commercial-grade Japanese diesel engine from the 1990s.